Hello everybody and welcome back once again to the Valley of the Old Farm. So as you can see on the top right hand side of the screen, the sold milk price was almost £7,000 for the previous day, which I think is very good, especially compared to the expenses which are there, which means we're still making some fairly decent money. Now this actually is going to dramatically reduce very soon if I don't do something drastic. You can see that everything here is pretty poor, especially with the cows actually. The sheep aren't too bad. We desperately need to give them water and some hay. As I've said before, we can't really do anything else unless we were to buy some straw. Somebody did suggest actually buying the mod which allows you to also give them hay as well as grass in this category, which I think is fantastic, so we'll probably do that for the next episode. So yeah, let's just go and get these first few things done before we start today's work. Well, this kind of is today's work, but yeah, before we start the proper stuff. Anyway, yeah, the Massey Ferguson 240 is going to be perfect for doing this, or possibly the skid steer actually. It doesn't really matter which one we go for, but they should be over here. Something should be over here, hopefully both. Yep. Okay, good. What do we have on the front of here? Yep. Okay, so I used the JCB since it does not have a fertiliser spreader on the back, and we need to go over to our barn which has got bales in. I still don't know whether or not to get a telehandler or not. I think we probably should do, especially when we do start to actually produce lots of bales. At this stage it's not too bad, but yeah, if we have loads then we're going to be loading them from most likely down below in the yard, and we're going to have to put these frames down, which you can do with the control panels. We're going to have to load them up this way, off the side. I'm sure I did actually demonstrate this before, but somebody still said I missed it, but yeah, basically like this. That's how you can put them down, which will allow us to, well, drop bales off or load bales up. Very good system. Okay, so I should think it would be one bale to begin with, but we'll see. It is pretty much one at a time anyway, with the skid steer. So we'll head over to the cows and give them their food. So today, partly what I've been doing is repairing my Traxxas radio controlled car, the Traxxas Slash. You probably do remember it anyway from my video which I put out last year when I first got it. But yeah, I actually crashed it, and it's basically snapped the bulkhead, the front bulkhead, in half, which was not very good, but it wasn't too much of a problem because the part itself was only £7, and the repair process was relatively simple. I have done a video of it, so very soon, probably next weekend, I'll get that edited and put out for you over on the Daggerwin Extra channel. It should be on that channel. I wouldn't have thought it'd be on this one. So how did they do? We can give them another. We'll give them two. Which means even at this very early stage, we're getting through the bales fairly quickly, and these bales are not cheap. Yeah, so if I have to do any more repairs on radio control stuff, I'll try and do a video on them, because I do find it quite interesting, even for myself, to watch. I don't tend to like watching my own videos, mainly because of my own voice. I don't like listening to myself, but when it comes to a topic which I absolutely love, like radio control stuff, or yeah, my mechanics videos, then I can bear it just about. I love Farming Simulator, but I couldn't watch myself playing it, that's for sure. It's just one thing I could never do. I have to watch some of it anyway to edit the videos, but what I do is, I've probably never told you this before, but when I do a video edit, basically, whenever I do a jump cut, it's most likely because I've made a mistake. Not always. Sometimes it's just because there's nothing really happening, and it would be silly to continue the recording, but usually, if there is a jump cut, that is where the mistake is. So what I do when I'm editing is I just go to the end of each video clip, discover if that is where a mistake was made, obviously edit it there and then move to the next one. That way I don't have to watch the entire video. And it sounds weird, but that's not the only reason why I do that. It is much quicker anyway. It's a much more efficient way of editing. Okay, so I'm just going to park this over here. The sheep are going to require some very soon, but I think they're going to be alright for today. Yep, they are. That's fine. So we just need to finish off with the water. They need to have a full load, ideally. So we'll just go over here and we'll get it topped up. which is going to be possibly a bit tricky because I'm pretty sure the water we had for them was from last time. So we're going to have to buy a water bowser. We can buy water or we can get free water. We're going to hopefully be able to get the free water. There's plenty of water about. It's just finding the best place to actually go down the riverbank to fill up, because it can't be too steep, as it will cause a number of issues. Most likely getting stuck, which I do not want to do. Anyway, we'll drop off. Okay, that was weird. Yeah, I try and get into. Yeah, that worked. Never had that happen before. It's because it's directly above us. I tried to get into this tractor, and I teleported to the one above. Interesting stuff. Okay, sorry, hens. So we'll go and buy a Bowser. Luckily, we have plenty of money. And then we'll try and fill up from the river. No reason why we shouldn't be able to. It said on the tutorial that we can do, but like I say, it's just finding that the best place to basically go down to the river on a gentle gradient. We don't want to go down a really steep bank. It will cause issues. Okay, the usual junction. And here we are. We're going to go for the Joskin one. I don't know if we need to upgrade. It should be good enough really, but if we do ever find that this one isn't big enough, then we can always go and buy a bigger one later. I'm pretty sure I don't have any enabled at this stage, but I can very easily download some. Right, so into the animal category, just here. Joskin trailer, tanker. Purchase that for £9,500, which is quite expensive, but it is required. It's not something that you could really say, oh, we don't need it. Without it, the cows are going to die. And the sheep. Here we are. Good. Right, to the riverbank. Now I'm actually getting quite a lot of people moaning about my steering wheel being noisy in the videos. Now a lot of people say that they like it. It adds to the realism and stuff. But I would say that the amount of people complaining about it is fairly easily outweighing the people complimenting the sound. So I think I'm going to have to do something about it. The only solution to it really is to reduce the degrees of rotation and stiffen the return strength. That would eliminate the sound, but it would make the steering really harsh, like be steering like this really sharply, a bit like pure farming was to begin with. So I don't know. Okay, so this river is seriously sharp, these banks. There is going to be a place for it. The tutorial probably did say the place. I might have to go back over there just to see, but you definitely can fill from the river. I have found the best place. If we turn left to where we see the tyre marks going into the forest, that will take us directly to a ford, and that is where we can go. Well, not a Ford tractor, obviously, a ford in the road. Here we go. Not waiting for those slow coaches. Right. So if we keep going down here, we will eventually get to the riverbank where it totally disappears. We have to drive through the river to actually get to the other side, and that would be the perfect opportunity to actually fill it up. So if we keep going, we will get there. I'm rushing a bit because I do want to get some other stuff done. We can't really spend the entire video just trying to find water. But it's here. It is here. Turn left. And here we are. Okay, so look at this. It is a designated place to drive through. Oh, that's looking deep. But we're okay. Right, so that is totally free. We don't actually have to park in the water. Although we do have to be in enough. Right, okay, so we'll let it fill up, and then we'll go over to the cows and give them the water they deserve. And possibly the sheep as well. Depends what we've got left. Because the sheep are actually alright. Back through the water. Don't want to go too far through it. Yeah, nice idea. Very nice. It's a bit of a slalom going through here. Yeah, there was quite a nice grass field back there. It wasn't fertilised, it's somebody else's field. We should tell them that it hasn't been fertilised, although I'm sure they do know. Anyway, let's just worry about our own problems. Let's go back to the farm and give our cows everything they need. There's our field. Lovely. It's all fertilised. Everybody else will be jealous. There they are, the happy cows. Or not so happy cows, they're running out of water. Oh, I never noticed that on the horizon before. What is it? Right at the top of there. Directly in front of us. I don't know. Some land... Oh, there's another one over there. Is it some industrial place, or is it something like rainwater collection? I have no idea, but it does look interesting. So their water trough, I would guess, is in the field, but I haven't done it before. I haven't actually been to their water trough before, because they had everything they needed from Oakfield Farm. Okay. It will say on the tutorial. It will be worth checking. Okay, so the water is, by the look of it, just the other side of the barn from where we were. So I'm going to go around there and hopefully we'll find the trough. Okay, so there it is. I could have just looked for it very simply, but with the tutorial being here, with it being so fantastic, I thought I'd make use of it. Ooh, a bug zapper. Bzz. Sounds like you got one. So how do we get in there? I'm not going to check the tutorial again. As lovely as it is, I'm going to have to use my own brain for once. Through here probably. It's a gate to the cows. It would make sense. Okay, so let's go in here. Yeah, I've got to use my own common sense too. I can't just rely on the fantastic tutorial. No, I don't think they're going to take all of this. We only have 30 cows, I think. They're going to take a fair bit because the cows always do require quite a lot, but I think 7,300 litres is pushing it. Maybe half of it. Not even a quarter. Well, thank you, cows. You're certainly being very helpful to us. Which means we can actually give some to the sheep as well. And I mustn't forget to close the gate, because, yeah, in real life the cows would soon be wandering. How do we do it? Yes. Just need to pin the trigger, that's all. Good. We're coming, sheep. Now the sheep, yeah, I think their feed trough, water trough is actually in here as well. So it looks like for both of them, if you're going to give them a solid, you don't have to go into their actual pen. But if you're going to give them a liquid, you do. Now these are going to take quite a bit. We have a lot of sheep. Although they did have half anyway, so they don't need an awful lot. Don't want to crush them. Go round them. They don't seem to care that we're here. Right, so that is the animal work done for today, and probably for the next few days actually. Yes, it does also say on the tutorial where the triggers are for the gates. I think it is pretty much where you'd expect them to be, where the latch is, so I must remember that. As for all this stuff, I think we'll just put it over here. The water should belong with the animals anyway. So what we've got to do is get the bigger fertiliser spreader on the back of the tractor, probably this tractor actually, and then take it over to the two, I think there's 2 grass fields left, 2 very large ones, which need to be done. So we'll get those done, but we also need to actually drill 2 more fields as well. Both of them are going to be oilseed rape, because they're quite a long way from the yard. Number 2 and number 6. Number 2, from what I can gather from looking at this, is cultivated. Number 6 is stubble, sunflower stubble. It shouldn't matter too much, but 6 might need to be worked prior to drilling. And 91 and 92 need to be fertilised. 93 and 26 have been done. So, a little bit complicated, but it's going to be fairly simple. So if we just go and pick up the fertiliser spreader, get it filled up, we'll hopefully have enough to do both of those fields. They look massive on the minimap, but I don't think they're quite as big as they look. They are still fairly large, but not like gigantic. There we go, that's good. Reverse into here. It's going to cost us a bit of money, but it's going to add so much productivity to our fields. We need to do it a few times. Just the once today. In fact, if we go to the fertiliser map, we should be able to see exactly what we're doing. Yeah, so 2 and 6 not done. 62, 91, 92 aren't done. Yeah, 62 needs to be fertilised. Oh, and 25. They haven't been done. Okay, so yeah, there's still quite a bit of fertilising to do. Some of it will be off screen, some of it will be through a time lapse. Most of today's fertilising will be through a time lapse, so yeah, you don't have to worry about sitting through like half an hour of just fertilising. So how much is this going to cost? Quite a bit. 4,000 litres at £6,719. Pretty easy stuff. Yeah, as I said, those fields are fairly big, but when you've got a big spreader like this, they're nothing really. As we're here, field number 62 needs our attention. So we'll give it an application of fertiliser. It's such a tiny field though, actually. It's going to be like 2 passes. And then we'll be done. Which way should we approach this? It's going to be tough, as this is a pretty big spreader. We do have the smaller spreader, which might have been better. Oh, now I'm underestimating it. Overestimating it. Yeah, we'll just go round, I think. Just so it gets the first application. Because if we don't do the first application, then, well, it'll be behind, and then there is a chance that we'll miss the third, and it won't actually be 90% productive. So now we've pretty much done all this, I think the best thing to do is to get everything working over in the final 2 fields. However, in the next episode, it's hopefully going to be mid-spring, so the 4th of the month. I'm hoping to start grass work. As you can see, there isn't much grass about, but when mid-spring comes along, it does start to grow rapidly. So if we can get the grass cut in at least one of the fields, then at least that will enable us to get some grass or some hay or something, possibly even start some silage for feed. Because these cows are not going to live off air, although they do live off air as well. But they need to have everything. Why do I talk such rubbish? I always do. Anyway, that's done. Where should we put this? Probably back in the same shed. Mustn't forget to use these sheds here. Actually, I might as well use it now. Right. Yeah, so what we've got to do is take the TM190 up there. That can get to work straight away in field 2, because that is already cultivated. As for the other field, we may plough it, I'm not too sure yet. Gonna have to top up the seed, and yep, oilseed rape is what's going into those fields up there. So how do we actually get up to those 2 fields? It's the furthest I've been from the yard. Although yeah, it's pretty simple. Go up to the usual junction and turn left instead of right. where you probably don't actually have to indicate. It's a fairly private track. But we do need beacons. Yeah, so basically this should be the last episode of doing all kinds of fertiliser work or drilling work. Because, yeah, obviously it's the only time we need to do this. And as I mentioned before, I think it is just going to be 1 year, this series, even though the series is going to be 40 to 50 episodes, just because of the length of each season and the time I'm playing at. It's actually times 15 at the moment, but that's because it needs to be. We need to get to day 4. But a lot of the time it's going to be times 5, so much slower. Right, so that's field number 6 on the right hand side, and that is stubble, and field number 2, the cultivated field, is just here. So it's actually laid out for us very well, although there are some trees about and the worker won't like them. We'll see how we go. I'll just set it off and hopefully it will be intelligent enough to actually avoid the trees. Usually it is. Okay, why has it put that up again? There we go. That's good. That's interesting. The worker doesn't put the front hopper down. Because I asked the question to my community and said, I don't know what to do. Do you travel with the hopper down or up? And the majority said, have it down. But yeah, the worker doesn't seem to know that. And the worker doesn't seem to know a great deal. No, the field is bigger than this 2 meter squared patch. Oh, you fool. I'm going to have to put a headland on. It seems ridiculously confused. Right, so we'll start it off. And yeah, hopefully then the worker will manage it. Come on, worker, watch. Watch what we do. This is fairly steep, actually. Crikey, it is steep. Yes, I'm not going to put a headland on unless it gets stuck again. I really did want the worker to do it all. Oh, crikey, what's going on? It must be the tree. I know that the trees do cause a bit of an issue. For some reason it must be assuming it's in front of it, but obviously it isn't. We'll try again. And yes, I will put a headland on. Yeah, so that seems to be getting on very well. If I was to do this again, what I'd probably do is do a large headland here and then have the tractor going across the field, because this is putting unnecessary, well, I suppose you could say wear on the tractor. It's slowing it down anyway, whereas we could be putting it this way. It's unnecessary load, yeah, it's not the easiest for it. The biggest problem is these trees. If we're going this way, the trees at both sides would be an issue, whereas going up and down, there aren't many trees, which does make it much easier. But yeah, it doesn't really matter, I suppose. Personal preference again. But yeah, I would, if it was real life, I would say definitely go across, but I don't know. I don't know for sure. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Until next time, see you again soon. Bye for now.